Welcome back to the Real with Joseph Lappin. I am Joseph Lappin. You guys having a great Sunday. I don't want to say afternoon, but happy lunchtime Sunday. Or maybe you're watching the afternoon. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate that. Shout out to all new subscribers. People have commented on the shows recently. We appreciate you guys. So shout out to you guys. And my apologies. I feel like I sound a little under the weather today. I've just got over a cold this week, so I'm on the back end. So bear with me today. But yeah, shout out to all you guys. Thank you for tuning in today, as always. But we got a loaded show today. This show, oh, I don't know where it's going to go today, but it's going to be something else today. I can tell you that. I know my guest, my main man, is always fired up, and he's really fired up today. I know like a lot of people are, and this is going to be just a pivotal moment right now for the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, the Browns had a preseason game yesterday against the Bills. They lost 31-7. Not like preseason results matter, but the Browns obviously the first two preseason games, and they got one more left. If not look great overall, they've got boat raced in both games, to be honest. So, not really impressed with the depth still. The quarterback competition obviously is still ongoing, although that may have took a big twist and turn yesterday. So, compared to where a lot of people thought it may have been going. So, if we're gonna get into it all. We're going to get into it all, and you need to like, subscribe, and share as we get up in here. As we, everybody gets up in here, tunes in, and because it's about to go down. It's about to go down. My man Mike is fired up. That's right. The man is here. The professional fan, the man, the myth, the legend, the TPF. He's back. Mike is in the house. Mike, what's happening?
Hello.
Hello, he's all. See, he's already ready to roll. With Mike short. When he's short with his answer, he's ready to rock.
I'm perturbed. Very perturbed today.
But yeah, please like, subscribe, and share the way. And we really appreciate that.
Yes, please do
that. Let's get to it. So, Mike, the Browns played a preseason game yesterday, right?
They sure did.
And Deshaun Watson did not start this week. Shador Sanders did. Now, Shador, we'll get to more of his performance in the back end of the show. But Shador, Mike, 9 of 11, 74 yards. One touchdown, one interception. He had a good opening drive, led him down the field for a touchdown. Only was sacked one time, 87.1 rating. I thought he was a lot better than he was last week. Obviously, he's playing with more of the ones, and not all of them played, but he's playing more of the ones and twos starting. But he looked good, Mike. And then Deshaun Watson this week, who I thought actually last week looked okay. I thought he showed some signs. In the game against the Bills or the Bears, I thought he was okay. He gets the third quarter reps this week, and he comes out, Mike, and it was terrible. 5 of 12, 36 yards, 3 yards an average, 1 pick, 14.6 yard rating. I didn't know he completed 5 passes, Mike. It was that bad. Now, granted, he's playing with the 3s and 4s.
0.
Yeah, I mean, granted, he's playing with the 3s and 4s. Not like he has great. The Browns' depth is still an issue to me, like I keep saying, and I'm not very. That's going to be a problem all year, but you're seeing it obviously with the preseason with the quarterbacks on the road with those groups. They don't play very well. But regardless, though, he's still an NFL quarterback. You're trying to be a starter. It was still pretty bad. And so, during the game, Mike, this was a topic going into the game. People were wondering, obviously last time we saw Deshaun Watson play a game, was in Cleveland, and he tore his Achilles, and he was on a cart, booed off the field or cheered off the field because he was injured by fans and somewhat booed as well. So, it was obviously an ugly scene. And, we said that day, and then Haslam said, remember after that, it was a swing and a miss. Then they traded for him.
Yep.
And we have said, okay, well, he's never going to play it down again for Cleveland, right? Well, because of the money, nobody wants him, and you can't trade that contract. And you can't cut him either because it'd be catastrophic to your cap, although the Browns may have to bite that apple here now. We'll get to that in a minute. But, you didn't think we'd ever get here again, but, ownership said we'll bring you back, give you a shot. We got a new head coach, and, we have a young quarterback, obviously, in Shador we're trying to develop and see if he can be the guy, but we're paying you this kind of money. We have a, rebuild an offensive line earlier in the season. Why not just use the veteran and put him out there and see what he's got? And you're paying him that money. Why not use him? So it seemed like that's where I was heading towards, Mike, especially this week. I'm thinking, okay, I keep saying on my show, he's probably going to start the season for the first 4 or 5 games, and then that'll be over with, and then they'll put Shador in there, depending on how it goes. And I would say there probably would have been, 500 at best. And so, He gets out on the field yesterday, though. It's his first game back in Cleveland since the injury 2 years ago, and it's going like complete dog shit. Let's be honest, it was not going good. They were playing bad. He was playing bad. And here's a view from the fans, Mike. This is from C's on Twitter, or an X, excuse me. Shout out to them. But yeah, Mike, here's how it sounded in the stadium. Yeah, so that was just some choice words there. But he threw an interception on the play, Mike, and people were not happy. And that wasn't a big crowd either for that game. It rained like hell yesterday. It wasn't a good day to go out for a game, really. And sorry, I keep sipping water, but it wasn't a great game overall to go to. And he looked like crap, and he threw a pick right there. And you heard the boos, though, Mike. I mean, that wasn't a big crowd, and it was still pretty loud with the boos.
They were letting him know.
Yeah, they were letting them know, all right. Just like the Cavs, they let them know, as they say. But after the game, Mike, Deshaun Watson spoke to the media, and I actually thought Deshaun Watson, Mike, up until yesterday, had handled the media pretty well this offseason. I thought he gave nice, good answers. Like he kind of grew a little bit, was a little honest about things, and everything was chill. He hadn't given anybody a soundbite all offseason. You know what I mean? So. But he was furious after yesterday. He was not happy, and he made it known after the game of the press conference. Here's what he had to say about what being booed in Cleveland yesterday 5 times. Because that wasn't that was the last time, but probably the most obvious one. But there was multiple instances yesterday. As soon as he ran out on the field, he got booed. I think they said there was 5 times total he got booed. So here's what he had said about that with the fans after the game.
I don't know. The only time I feel that energy is when I'm in the stadium or it's on social media. Like I mentioned before, when I'm in public, no one's mentioned anything. So I think that's the only time those people that's holding it in is trying to, disrupt the energy. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a social media, players can't respond back. And then in the stadium, players can't respond back. So I get it. I understand it, so it is what it is.
We'll take 2 more. Quarterback job is tough enough. Can you defeat that negativity?
I don't know. It's a mental battle every day. I feel like I get more love on road games than I do home games. So if it is and he does name, maybe it's 17 away games. Then I don't know.
So there's more I'm going to play, but we'll stop right there real quick just to give context. So that part, Tony Grossi says, follows up with his opening statement and about, can you mentally handle that this year? And he says, I don't know. And he was very honest. He says, I don't know. And, he says it feels like he's going to have 17 away games this year. So, Mike, your initial reaction to that real quick before we play the rest of the clip.
I think he should shut up. I think, you know what? No, play the rest of the clip because I'm going to talk for like 10 minutes about this shit.
All right. I'll set it up for you. I'll set it up for Mike, but I'm just going to I'll give context as we go along. So again, you hear what he says right there. I don't know. And he's obviously making it very known that, he feels like he has no support. He even said he has more love on the road than he does at home in Cleveland. So let's continue.
The fact that you guys do have your first 2 are on the road, your first 6 of 9 are on the road. If you win the job, might that work in your favor?
Again, I'm not sure. I don't know. I thought being away for 2 years and working myself back from 2 Achilles injuries and putting the time in and, being around the facility, being around the city, doing charity work in the city, supporting the Cleveland Browns, hanging out with fans whenever I do see them, being honest, being, the type of person I know I am and the character would help. And I guess it haven't. So that's why I say it's personal. So, it is what it is. People have their own opinions. I can't do, there's only so much you can do to change that. So at the end of the day, I just have to continue to just work on it and strive to be better mentally moving forward.
And that was Deshaun Watson. And so that, Mike, set off a firestorm amongst the media, nationally, locally, and amongst the fans. And he's taken a lot of heat for those comments. And this morning on 92.3 The Fan, I think it was Darryl Wright or Nick Padone do their morning show. They start off the morning in Cleveland here, getting right to it. Here's what their reaction was.
I'm imploring you. I'm not going to implore. I'm just going to say, matter of factly, this needs to be resolved today. Plain and simple. Deshaun Watson never speaks again as a member of the Cleveland Browns.
Right. So if he's not playing, he's not going to be forced to talk, and then we won't have any of this uncomfortability.
Well, yeah. I mean, we didn't hear from him for almost 18 months.
Right. Before the spring,
Right.
when he came out and talked for the first time in OTAs. Yeah.
But they need to resolve this today. This needs to be done today. You need to resolve this today. You cannot go into Monday with Deshaun Watson, an active member of this organization.
And Jeremy Fowler of ESPN from a national standpoint, Mike, who covers the Browns and AFC North.
Oh, I love this one.
He spoke today on Sports Center this morning. Here's what he had to say.
Jeremy Fowler with.
Oh, come on. Hey, I can handle it. I can play quarterback through that.
Okay. How does what happened yesterday impact the Browns' decision for who's going to be their starting quarterback?
I'm a little rattled now. I got to regroup that. This is not the punctuation that Deshaun wanted on this quarterback battle, because the feeling out of Cleveland, and I spent a day there this week, is that Deshaun Watson had some momentum, that he had a couple good weeks here, stacked some good plays together. He was getting some prominent reps in the practices against the Bills in that joint practice. So now the Browns have to weigh what happened on the field with Watson and also what he said in that press conference. Yeah. Is he in a good space to be the leader for this team? So here's how this is going to go. Todd Monken, the head coach, will huddle with his staff today. They will evaluate everything, the game yesterday and the last few weeks of the battle, knowing that this is essentially over. A decision could come Monday where he informs both quarterbacks of his decision, whichever direction they go. They play Thursday night. They're probably going to rest their starters. This thing is essentially over. I will say about Shedeur Sanders, when I talk to people with the Browns, the word presence, the word aura comes up. Like he has something to him that has certainly helped his cause, and he played well yesterday. So he's made a compelling case at the very least here. But we'll see. Deshaun Watson's had momentum for a couple weeks. So do they just stick with that, or does yesterday change things in a big way? Monken's got to find that.
And an NFL Network, Mike, to finish off the reaction to Watson's comments that we heard. And if you're just tuning in, please like, subscribe, and share. Here's what it said on NFL Network yesterday, Mike, right after the game about those comments.
Yeah, there's a couple throws over the last couple of weeks he'd like to have back, but on the whole, he's played very well, and quite simply, he's outplayed Deshaun Watson. And when you look at this team, where they are right now, I think of windows. This Cleveland Browns team is young and talented. There could be six, if Shedeur starts, 6 first or second year starters on this offense. So I came into this process thinking, okay, it's easier to go from the veteran to the rookie. You start Deshaun Watson, it doesn't go well, you pivot. But after going through all training camp and then what we've seen in the preseason, I've changed on that one. I've completely flipped and said, this is a young team. He's a young quarterback. Let these guys grow together. And what does that mean for Deshaun Watson? I don't know that there's a home for him there if he's not the starter. You're going to eat that $41 million either way. So in my opinion, you start Shedeur Sanders and you end up cutting Deshaun Watson. But we'll see how this whole thing plays.
So yeah, obviously they were giving their take more so on what they should do moving forward. But Mike, we heard Deshaun Watson, and again, there was a lot of stuff going around the internet today, including this picture right here that people made of Deshaun Watson. But Mike, your reaction to all this? What's your reaction to Deshaun Watson's comments, and what should the Browns do moving forward?
My reaction is Deshaun Watson should be as far away from my football team as humanly possible. I've never seen Browns fans more united on one thing. And here, I don't care if you're a Shedeur Sanders fanatic. I don't care if you miss Baker Mayfield. I don't care what you think is best for the Cleveland Browns at this point. But I think we're all in agreement. This dude's got to go. This dude has got to go. He is so tone deaf to his own situation. It is crazy. He doesn't know why people are booing him. We're booing him because he was played like shit. He was gifted $250 million, and he's played like, I feel like 15 full games in the fucking 5 years he's been here. What idiot would even begin to think that he has earned the right for us to be nice to him. But, fuck this dude. For lack of a better term, I ain't got nothing better to say. I'm just so flabbergasted. $250 million. How weak-minded do you have to be as an NFL quarterback that fans booing you in a preseason game playing against third-string Bills defenders? You played that poorly because some guy booed you when you ran out. Gary from HR at Huntington Bank freaking booed you because he had free tickets that he got on his luncheon. He booed you, and all of a sudden you can't play an NFL football game playing against third-string Bills defenders. This dude is so tone deaf. He's up there complaining about fans like, I do all this charity, I do this, I do that. It's like, okay, great. You know who else does charity? Almost every single Browns player does charity, and they don't even bring it up. They do it for the charity. Like, I get he was trying to rebuild his reputation, whatever. Allegation. And here, I'm not even adding the allegations. Allegations aside, he did it. He's a piece of crap. He didn't do it. Sucks. Guess what? Court of public opinion exists. You're a celebrity. You got to deal with it. And at the end of the day, man, like we mortgaged our future away. We spent the best of David Njoku's prime. It made us lose Myles Garrett long term. Nick Chubb's prime, we saw come and go. Amari Cooper's prime, we saw come and go. Our entire O-line, we saw come and go. Like, Joe Bitonio fucking retired. Like, dude, I don't want to hear nothing out of this dude. This dude has had so many opportunities after opportunity after opportunity to win back the hearts and minds, if you will, of at least the team that he represents. Yeah, of course you get more love on road games. You keep throwing the ball to that team. Why wouldn't they love you? You throw 5 picks a game. Why wouldn't they love you? Because you're our quarterback and they know you're trash. I am sick of this dude. I hope, you know what? I don't agree with Daryl Ryder's a really, really polarizing media figure. He has really strong opinions, but it doesn't at this point, man. I agree with Daryl Ryder. They gotta resolve this today. You got to get this guy off the team. I don't know what they have to do. Maybe they can't officially cut him, but like put him in the background. Be like, collect your $40 million. Just shut up. Go vacation in Italy or something. I don't care. And just get him out. It's not like he's going to have a future in an NFL team. Being this bad in the media, being this bad on the NFL field, and just being just bad all around. This dude is you know what? I thought the Russell Wilson trade, I was like, maybe that is the worst trade made for a quarterback. It sucks that the Browns have to own this L of the worst quarterback trade in NFL history, because that's what it is. He has been hurt or just awful. And now he's blaming the fans for his performance. No, I'm done. I think everybody's done. I know you're going to be nicer about it, but
Terrell Jenkins says, I'm pretty sure we tuned in, Terrell. I bet if you talk the ish in his face, he can respond with no consequences that he would whoop your ass.
That's fine. He can punch me all he wants. He's got enough money. I'd sue him. I'd settle out of court. He's used to that.
Okay. But yeah, I put on the screenshot. The Browns cut Watson. Let me know what you guys think. But here's my take. I'm not gonna be as long as Mike. I'm just gonna say, listen. Do I get kind of where Deshaun Watson's coming from? I do. In terms of you rehab back, you're trying to go out and play for the organization, for the fans, and you're getting booed off the field, and you think it's, now like it's pretty obvious. Like he said, it is personal. You could tell, like, fans do not like this guy. And so now obviously fans have their own opinions, and I'm sure a lot of that stems back to what happened, with all the allegations and stuff. Now, I'm not going to get into that. Excuse me, everybody has an opinion on that. The facts are out there. If you look far enough and you can figure out what happened, obviously was not convicted or anything, but a lot of people still look at that with a number of women and say, okay, something was wrong there, right? But to me, I look at it like, listen, he played here for what, 2 years before he got injured? So from 2020 to 22, 23, and then 24. So no, was it year 3 when he got hurt? Yeah. So, I mean, he got booed a little bit on the road more when he came around the first time or his first year here. Obviously, he got booed a lot on the road that year. He played that preseason game in Jacksonville. Remember, it was that first game, and then. But a lot of the fans here, Mike, it was kind of mixed, but you didn't really hear it like that. Now that 24 season was so bad. By the time he got hurt, fans were fed up with it, and it was too. People were just tired of it. Because you were still. I think how a lot of fans took it, Mike, was like, our team's getting a lot of crap for bringing this guy in. They became one of the most hated franchises because of it, and most criticized franchises because they brought that guy in with all that allegations. Now, again, it's allegations, but obviously there's court of a public opinion and takes its many twists and turns, and you can't control that. But there was a lot of stuff written about it and everything, obviously. But anyways. But I think, by the end of that season, or when he got hurt up until that point, it was so bad, that how they were playing, it was a bad season. They had just fired. They made the playoffs the year before, which I think played into it as well. And we went right back to, bad football. And do I put all that on Deshaun Watson? No, I don't, because I think the organization, I've said it for a while, and we had Stum Mitchell on the show, who was on that staff, who, they kind of did him a disservice in a lot of ways. They didn't do a good enough job as an organization prepping their investment to go out and play quarterback when he was on a layoff for how many years or how many months, almost 2 years. So, I think that was a part of it. It's on them. They didn't do a good enough job. Two things could be true, but he also didn't go out and play well. He was missing wide open reads. He just did not look himself. And I've always said with Deshaun Watson, I think, he's battling off of two season-ending injuries, but he hasn't played a lot of football, which is a big thing because he hadn't played a lot in 6 years. He's only played, 15 games, like you said, in 6 years? I mean, that's not a lot of football. So, because 2020 is the last time we saw the real Deshaun Watson that we all once knew. And, I think when you combine that along with, he's human. He's making it known, like, hey, all the backlash and stuff, he obviously has his opinion about what happened and whatever, but he's taken a lot of hate and a lot of heat because Deshaun Watson, before all this stuff, was actually a very likable guy. A lot of people rooted for Deshaun. He was like the American superstar quarterback. I mean, went to Clemson and balled out one national championship, and played well in Houston. Everybody loves you. And you go from a world where everybody loves you and praises you and likes you to you're the most hated guy, one of the most hated players in the NFL, and even your own home fan base.
The most.
Yeah, I mean, probably, the most. I mean, so, I think that was, 19 games. I appreciate you too, man. 19 games in 2020. But again, not a lot of football. That's not a lot of football. He hasn't played a full season since 2020. And so, he's adjusting to that, the speed of the game and everything, because to take time off and come back and play at the NFL level, that's a big challenge what he's doing, along with the injuries. But I think it's always been more mental with him. I just don't think mentally he's ever been able to recover from all that because, again, this guy used to be – I was a big Deshaun Watson fan when he was in college. I thought he was one of the best college quarterbacks I ever saw. I liked in Houston, he was balling out. I mean, the dude was crazy. He was 4,800 yards. He was awesome. And I just loved his style of play, his energy. He had swagger. He had confidence, right? He was always leading teams down the field at the end of games and winning games. I mean, in college and pros. I mean, but then once you saw that flip with the public perception of him and everything that happened, and just, I don't think he ever recovered from that. And then I think the organization, the Browns are not the best organization since '99. I think they're training to become better now, but they didn't do a good enough job, in my opinion, in that era to get him to support him. I think they messed up in a lot of ways. And they messed up with Baker before him too. And they messed up a lot of other players as well. That's why they haven't found their franchise quarterback. Clearly they're not doing something right. But have they gone to 40 of them now since 99 or more, whatever it is. It's a high number. Too many. But but two things can be true there. But he also he couldn't do basic things well either. And when he got hurt and they booed him off the field, that's why I said I thought it was over then. I never thought we'd actually get back to a point where he would actually be playing again in Cleveland.
I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, I'm like, so, I think going into that game yesterday, did you watch him last week in Chicago? He looked all right. He looked okay. He had a couple bad throws. Like, it looked like he was getting back to, the speed of the game. I broke down the film on it, but he actually wasn't that bad. I actually liked what I saw a lot from him last week.
Yeah.
But his head was clear, you could tell. Like he looked like he was doing things he used to do a little bit. He's never going to be back to what he once was. He even said that, but he looked okay last week. You could, Mike, as soon as he ran out on that field yesterday and he heard the boos, it was over. And I heard it I'm watching it. I'm like, he's about to stink this play. He's about to stink the joint up today. And the throws he was making, Mike, throwing it in the triple cut, like that's like quarterback sins, like stuff you would never do.
Threw one into the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, he looked out of it. He did not look comfortable. He did not look settled. And that's why you got the result you got. He looked like crap. And, I think, to me, mentally, he just can't play here ever again. He may never even play anywhere ever again. I don't know because everywhere he goes, whether it's right or wrong, it's just what it is. That local media, like it happened here in Cleveland, whenever they go somewhere, they're going to have the local media. Some people are going to put out some pieces on it, disagreeing with it. How could you bring this guy who allegedly did X, Y, and Z here? And then, you're going to have, groups rally together and, go against the organization. We saw it here, right? That's going to happen. And so there's going to be anywhere he goes, even if he leaves, right? If they cut him today and some team signs him, even if he's a backup for whatever team, there's going to be backlash. He still might get booed. So I think with Deshaun Watson, he's got to figure out for himself, because I get it on his behalf on some parts where it's like, let's say if I think I didn't do anything wrong, right? I messed up with myself in situations I shouldn't have, but let's say, I didn't commit a crime or something, or what they're trying to pay me out to be, whatever. And again, I think it's still wrong either way, but morally, but if let's say I didn't do anything right, it's not how they put it out, right? And let's say he's right. And but he feels like, damn, I'm getting booed. I'm trying to do everything I can to, like you said, he's trying to help out the community. He's trying to do things to show like, hey, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm trying to rebuild my image, whatever. And I'm still getting booed. I got booed off the field and I tore my Achilles. I've never seen a player in my lifetime who have that kind of injury get cheered. The only time I ever saw was when Kevin Durant, remember, he came back in that game against the Raptors and he was hurt. He had that hamstring, I think it was, or the calf. And he tore his Achilles. And some fans in Toronto started to cheer, and you saw the Raptors fans go like this, like, "Hey, shut up! Like, we don't do that," Yeah. And so that's the only time I ever saw that. But that wasn't in comparison to what happened to him, how they booed him off the field with the ruptured Achilles. So because he was one of their own, he's one of their players, and so I put all that together though. I just think I get it from both sides. But at the end of the day, he put himself in the situation, right? That's obvious. He put himself in that situation, and there's consequences. And we just talk about life. And obviously, I'm a spiritual man, and I don't know. I'm trying to turn this into a godly sermon today or anything like that. I'm not going to shove that down people's throats, obviously. But everybody has a right to their own beliefs and their own choice. But I'm just saying, there's consequences to what you do, okay? And and I think he's paying the consequences still, and there's a lot of guys there's a lot of athletes that do the same thing he did, but a lot worse. And I'm not saying he committed a crime, but in terms of putting yourself in those situations where you can get put in that, you can put in the situation he got put in. There's athletes out there do way worse and probably mess with the same women he was messing with. And, I think with him, Deshaun Watson got the dirty side of the business. Okay. And we talked about a lot of that back then. And, he was looking for a contract. He was mad. He was upset with the organization. And, all of a sudden things started to come out and everything went south from there. So, I just don't think this guy, he's never going to be, and I'll be honest with you, Mike, I thought there would be a few boos yesterday, but I didn't think you would hear it like that. Like, I didn't think it would be like that. And clearly it was loud enough. And we heard it on that one at the person who shouted to them for getting the clip inside of the stadium when he threw that pick. I mean, people were pissed. And so.
Yeah, it was exceptionally loud during the.
Here's the problem that I think he's going to have. Why he can't. He's not going to. Even if they start to see, he's not going to be serviceable even. Because you have Shedeur Sanders behind him. And Shedeur Sanders is not just, an ordinary backup. Okay, this guy's got one of the biggest fallings I've ever seen. But also he's got potential. He's a year or two guy who's gotten better. And a lot of people are going to say, hey, like that guy said, Jared, I think it was the reporter on NFL Network we had up there. He made a good point. Like, you have a young team, but let the young guy go out there because he's the only guy that has potential to be your future at the position, and see what he's got. And
Yeah.
so, should they cut Watson, Mike? I think they should because of that, but also I look at it from the coach's standpoint and the locker room standpoint. As a former player myself, I had played the NFL level and everything, but being around teams and players like I am now, one of the more premier programs at high school in the state of Ohio and in the country, it's you can't have that in your culture in your locker room. You just can't, because what's going to happen is even if guys in that locker room are friends with him or back him up, whatever, but that's cool. But eventually, it's just you can't have that in your locker room, especially out in your own home field. Like because it becomes a distraction. And most important, if I'm Todd Monken, if I'm the Browns, I can't let Todd Monken endure that. He's a first-time head coach. He's trying to build a culture here. He's trying to turn it around. He can't have this shit in his first year. He just can't. He's better off going with the young guy and just riding out, because there's two things that Jeremy Fowler said there. What he said, the staffs, they're holding a meeting today, Tom Monken and his staff. And I'm sure the organization's probably going to be involved in that meeting as well. They're probably meeting right now if they haven't already.
Well, if I'm Jimmy Haslam, I'm just like, dude, just cut the guy. We'll figure out.
Well, there's two things though they said about Shedeur, right? He has presence and he has aura. Okay. Yeah, you have, and I said the only reason why I thought they would start Watson beginning of the season, I've been saying this on my show for the last month, because you have a rebuilding offensive line, a new coach, you're trying to build a system, right? Let him go. He's not your future, Deshaun. Even before all this yesterday, let him go out there to kind of run for the wolves a little bit for the first 3-4 weeks, and then put Shedeur out there where it's a little more stabilized, so you get a fair evaluation of him, and give him a shot. But at this point now, though, Mike, and I think Shedeur will be all right anyways, because I don't think Shedeur really cares. I mean, the Shedeur had bad offensive lines in college, and I think this Browns offensive line will get better as the year goes on. It just may start out a little rough because they're new, they're rebuilding, they got some injuries. There's a lot of you're going to see a lot of.
Spencer Fano looks amazing though, so that's
go check out that video we did on him the other day this week.
Oh my god, yeah.
But there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of kinks to get out early in the season, because you got a young team. And especially that offensive line, you got guys that are trying to learn to play with each other, and a new coach, new system again, right? You got some guys, like I said, you got some guys hurt right now. So, they got to figure it out. But I think Shedeur can, if anybody can do it, I think Shedeur can improvise, because that kid, he doesn't get fazed by anything, I've noticed. I think his best attribute is his confidence. And if I got a quarterback that has a presence and an aura and has confidence and swagger, I'm rolling with that guy. I just am. I can't have this. I just can't have this as a first. If I got a first-time head coach, I can't have my fans booing his starting quarterback at home, because eventually because it's already become a distraction. And yesterday, Mike, guess what they asked Monken after the game about this situation? They had to ask him about it. Yeah, I'm sure Monken's probably like, "Why the fuck are you?" I don't mean to cut. Well, he don't want to talk about this. No coach wants to talk about this shit. You know what I mean? But and players were asked about it after the game too. But here's Todd Monken about it yesterday.
Hey, how's it feel to get booed? I mean, it's a pretty easy question. It sucks. I don't want to get booed. It comes with the territory. You don't want to get booed? Let's play good football. Let's play good at quarterback. Let's play good on offense. Let's play good as a team. And then you don't have to worry about it, because it can turn just like that. Win, play good football, and everybody will be fine. That's just part of it. So I told him, "You good? We're good." Part of what we do.
But here's the problem with that, Mike. What he said is right, and I love Todd Monken's answer there, right? But
that's a football man right there.
He is, but he's a coach. He's a leader. And here's the problem, though. Deshaun Watson was asked earlier in the week, "Will it bother you?" And he says, "I don't care." He said he didn't care, but clearly he cared.
The reaction is going to be
clearly he cared. So, and his reaction yesterday was a lot different than what the coach's reaction was. The coach was kind of like, it's more business, like how you should answer and how you should go about it. It is what it is. Hey, we get paid the big bucks. We're in the NFL at the highest stage, play about millions of people every week. Welcome to the NFL. But Deshaun's answer, Mike, was he said it. He took it to it. He even said it's personal. So your head coach and this quarterback they're not on the same page. You could tell with this, and it's going to become a distraction. And not only that, your developing quarterback who could be your guy who's going to play this year. They're asking him about it, Mike. So now Shedeur's got to be put in a situation where he's got to talk about this situation. That's obviously for all the reasons surrounding Watson is not something I'm sure a lot of guys are comfortable talking about. You know, it's not fair to him. But they asked him yesterday. Here's what Shador said. And I thought Shador gave a good answer. The best answer he could be put on the spot. Here's what he said.
Appreciate that at all. Just regardless of competition, we all human beings. I think we all need to understand that, you know, in this room too. We are humans. So it's like, I don't really do things as humans I won't really want done to me, you know, and I don't really like making people feel uncomfortable in different spaces. And that's why even sometimes, like, daily things I do, like, I try to make sure everybody comfortable, you know, because a lot of things, just even I am as a person, sometimes can make people uncomfortable. So, I mean, I'm obviously aware of that, and just for all the fans and everything, like, we appreciate y'all showing up and everything. And how do y'all feel about the situation, about Deshaun, about everything? Still, you know, I think it's more about a bigger purpose of just respect. You know, it's just a respect thing that I feel like should be there, because we all out there trying to do our best and trying to serve the franchise the best way possible. We going out there to win games. We're doing everything we can do. So, you know, I don't really appreciate that. I guess
And, you know, Mike, I actually commend him for his answer because, A, he was put on the spot. He's been put in a situation now that he shouldn't even be talking about this to begin with.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was a very mature answer. It's basically the best thing he could have said.
yeah, and I'm gonna throw it to you in a minute. I'll let you have the floor and kind of ragtall it. But Toolman says you cannot have your young team be booed at home consistently. It's bad for the
I
young
like
guys,
that.
and that's exactly where I was about to go with the Toolman. If you're trying to build a culture, and you have one of the youngest teams under 25 years old in the NFL, and you have a lot of studs, this is not good for you. Not only now, but in the long term, because players remember this stuff. You know, if this becomes a thing throughout the year where these players, you hear what Shador said, they don't appreciate that because they see Deshaun still as their teammate. They're with him every day. We know that Deshaun and Shador actually seem like they have a pretty good relationship. They talk all, they help each other. Like, yeah, they're in a competition, but they seem like they're pretty cool. Even with Dylan Gabriel too. So you have that. You know, these guys all know each other. They back each other. It's like, you know, it's part of the NFL. You're a brotherhood. It's part of like a protocol, right? And so they don't like that stuff. But if I'm the Browns, I can't have that as well because I'm trying to get these guys on board here in Cleveland. We're trying to build a culture. You know, we should be talking about the guys that went and did the Cleveland for Christ event where Shador was at and Carson Schwetzker's getting baptized. And you're like, man, I got young dudes that really are embracing the community, doing real work in a real way, and are trying to really build something here. Like, that's what we should be talking about. I like what the Todd Monken's been preaching all offseason. That's what we should be talking about. We shouldn't be talking about this. This is going to become a distraction that could divide the locker room. That could, or not say divide, but I mean possibly, but it could divide players in the organization. And that's not good when it's contract time in a couple years because guys will say, get me the hell out of here. So the Browns need to nip this in the ass right away. Get it up out of here. If you feel like as a staff and organization, you got a guy with presence, aura, and he's leading, and he's the guy that has the most upside, you just roll with him at this point. He'll figure it out. Todd Monken's a good enough coach with the reboot offensive line. He'll figure it out, put a game plan in there to where everybody be successful. That's why you just brought him here and paid him the money you paid him to be the head coach of the team. That's why you went out and hired that guy. So, you know, to me, Mike, they got to cut him. I know they're going to bite the money. It's going to be not good for your cap, but at this point, you know, you don't have good depth coming in the season already. You're going to have to develop depth throughout the year. This is going to be a transition year, a building year, a building block for the future. So, you know, nobody's expecting this team to go out and win a Super Bowl this year, even, you know, make the playoffs. Maybe they could get hot. And I think they're a 7-8 win team at best right now if they get the right momentum at the end of the year, mid-season take off. But at the end of the day, it's not about that. As long as you're building the right foundation and culture moving forward, and maybe Shador becomes your guy, great. With 2 first-round picks, we can really do something going into the next year as well. Like, we're heading in the right direction finally. So that's it's fine, and you're doing it the right way. I think finally, for one time in my life, first time in my lifetime, Mike, I feel like the Browns are actually finally drafting the right way and building it out properly. So, you know, that's where I'm at, Mike. I think they should cut him. But what's your reaction to Todd Monken and Shador in the locker room? I mean, do you feel like, you know, what's your thoughts on all that?
Here, my thoughts are this on the whole situation, right? Todd Monken handled it perfectly. You know, you don't want to get booed. Like, Don't take personal, whatever. Play better football. Great answer. He's going to be a good coach. I believe in the guy. Shador being put on the spot, it was a very mature answer. It was the best answer he possibly could have given. At this point, man, we knew the quarterback room was maybe a little lackluster. Maybe Shador surprises us. Who knows? At this point, yeah, cut Watson. Let Shador start the season. If you have something there, great. You got 2 first-round picks. You can build around him. Maybe get another defensive end, shore up that defensive line some more again. Maybe get another premium offensive weapon, whether that be like another lineman, what have you, another tight end. I don't know, whatever. But, he'll have the whole year to prove it on a good offense or a better offense at the very least, a pretty good defense. And if he doesn't, the Browns have 2 first-round picks and like 12 picks next year to find the quarterback. At this point, Deshaun is just I think Toolman said it best. It'll be bad for the young guys to hear them just getting booed if Deshaun doesn't make a pass or just Deshaun walks out there. Now, especially now that he said these comments, like I said earlier, I've never seen the Cleveland Browns fan base more united. Nobody is standing behind this guy at this point. Just see what you got in the young man. Give him the full season. He's got a better O-line now. I think he can, he's going to throw some picks, but I think he'll at least be
He's got
fun.
the weapons all right now.
He's got some really good weapons. Harold Fannin year 2, Quinshawn year 2, and Dylan Sampson in year 2 under a better O-line than obviously KC.
Their dudes gonna be some studs.
Yeah, KC, Denzel. Looks like Isaiah Bond is going to take a leap. And then your defense you've added to, and it'll still be a very, very aggressive and good defense. They look good against the Bills. Found a couple gems. Obviously, you drafted Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, but Michael Coates has shined. UDFA out of West Virginia, baby. Go Mountaineers.
I think his family member tuned into our show right after he got signed and said, hey, check this kid out. So shout out to Robert Coates. I think I remember that was his name. If you're watching again, hey, shout out to your relative, Michael Coates. Thank you for coming in that day and making us. You were lying. You say, hey, my man's gonna do it. He's doing it.
He's my UDFA lock for the team.
Yeah, he should definitely make the team. You need a nickel too.
And he's been playing well in special teams too, which is important for UDFA. But
here's a question too I have, Mike, and I said this for the game yesterday to somebody. I was talking to my guy Ro Goldstein, and I said, listen, I don't feel like this is getting talked about enough. By the way, either. The Browns have 4 quarterbacks on the roster right now, Mike. Okay, you say, what is it? What do you mean by that? Or what are you going with this? Well, because everybody brings 4 quarterbacks in for camps a lot of times. Here's the thing: you signed Deshaun. You have Deshaun Watson for $41 million this year. You spent draft capital last year, a 3rd-round pick on Dylan Gabriel, who, right by reports, they still believe can be their long-term backup. You have Shador Sanders, who's battling for the quarterback 1 position, has upside. You have on a 5th-round deal. You spent draft capital to take him. But then you also spent another 5th-round pick to share on another quarterback, and Taylor Green, who the head coach this week, Mike, said after he got some reps in practice and looked pretty good, said, man, I love that kid. And mind you, not only that they like the kid, he's 6'6", he's a freak athlete, and maybe they can use him somewhere else on the team. I would keep him around for sure. You can use him on goal line packages and short distance, down and distance stuff. The kid he's a stud in terms of athleticism. He could develop into something. You never know, right? Give him a couple years. But you spent draft capital on him, and you need depth clearly in other spots. But you spent a 5th-round pick on this guy. So, and I've said all along, you can't, obviously you're not going to go into the season with 4 quarterbacks on your roster. But the problem is if you assign Taylor Green to the practice squad, you're at risk of losing him to another team. So you waste, and if that happens, so if you guys don't know, if a guy's on a practice squad, another team could sign him to their roster. And teams always need quarterbacks. And, what if the Bills need a backup quarterback? And they just saw this kid this week and say, hey, man, imagine we have that kid over here sitting behind Josh Allen for a couple of years. Or, maybe we could develop into something, use him. But again, not even that. You use draft capital on this guy, and you need depth in other spots. So somebody's got to go. I'm not putting that guy in the practice squad, Mike. I'm not taking a risk of losing him, especially I used a 5th-round pick on the guy. So at this point, you got to eat the $41 million. What's your thoughts on that? Because I don't want to put that guy, Mike, and especially if the coach is publicly praising him and loves the guy, you keep that guy in that building. And guess who
Yeah,
else?
no, they
Who
spent a
else?
relatively
Well, not
like
you know, not to call you out, to add real quick and I'll you go. Not only that, you know, I've seen after practice the most throwing the receivers, doing extra work, Shador Sanders and Taylor Green.
yeah.
I like this kid. I don't. And the coach likes him, and he's the kid. He's a stud. Like I'm not letting him walk away. Possibly somebody's going to try to pick that kid up. I'm telling you.
Taylor, yeah.
He's not going to. If you put him on that practice squad, I think there's a chance somebody down the road, may not be right away, but teams always need quarterbacks. Somebody might sign that kid, and you wasted a 5th round pick when you could have added a depth piece somewhere else, and because you need depth, your depth's not that good. And we'll get to that in a minute. But what's your thoughts on that? I mean, they got to cut somebody, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. And here, like they spent a relatively high pick on a guy who, you know, you expect it. If he was like a UDFA, it'd be different. But they spent like a 6th round pick on Taylor Green, 5th round pick on Shador. You know, and Taylor Green is a freak athlete. They could turn him into something else if he ends up not working out in the quarterback position as a backup or what have you. But yeah, man, at this point, like I don't mind cutting Deshaun, man. Just let him enjoy his money. Let him you know, go to Italy or whatever he likes to do. And because at this point, man, it's just too toxic of an environment for the young players and our young talent if he's on the team, if he's on the field. Because like after this, there's no going back. This is it. You know, you pass the point of no return.
If I'm Jimmy Haslam and my goal is to move away from Deshaun Watson, I'm trying to get to that place, and maybe they were thinking maybe by the end of this year we can just ride it out.
Yeah,
move on from.
I think that was originally the plan.
Yeah, we can, and we have Shador, who everybody wants to see. We can transition people. But I think if I'm Jimmy Haslam right now, Mike, there's not a better time where people wouldn't judge you if you just cut the guy and just eat the money. I mean, they wouldn't, because shout to Rob, and I appreciate you guys for the chat. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. I'm gonna go back and put some of the chats from earlier up on the screen. But appreciate you guys for all tuning in. Shout out to Resurrect Mints, says Haslam like Watson.
He did.
But you know, like Franchise Official, thank you for tuning. You put some great comments in there today as well. They said trade Gabriel, eat the dead money cap on Watson, hit the dead cap. Trade Gabriel, eat the dead cap money on Watson. His dead cap hit is $28 million, more than Tua's dead cap was with Miami. And Green moves up the quarterback too. Now, I would love Green to quarterback too, but here's the thing. Dylan Gabriel, who's trading for Dylan Gabriel? He has the 3rd round money tag on him. And they haven't really done anything with him this offseason, like in terms of in the preseason, put him in a position where he can kind of increase his value a little bit, where a team could say, yeah, maybe we'll tape. Because right now, let's be honest, Dylan Gabriel's not looked good in the preseason. He's an undersized left-handed quarterback, and they spent a 3rd round pick on him. He's probably not going anywhere anytime soon. So you're kind of stuck with him in some ways. Because
maybe Kevin wants his supercomputer back, bro. You don't know that.
Maybe he does. I don't know.
Maybe go to Atlanta.
Go ahead, take him. But you know that you might just be stuck with Gabriel for another year, right? But because he just has no trade value right now. So if you cut him, you look stupid because you spent a 3rd round pick on him, not a little over a year ago. So to me, you have to get rid of Deshaun. And Jimmy Haslam has the perfect opportunity right now, Mike. Nobody would judge him for it. They would say, yeah, we understand why you're eating the money. Because let's be honest, you're probably not winning the division this year. You're probably not going to the playoffs based on your depth. You're a young team. You have a lot. You have the momentum. You got the right pieces you're building. Maybe you get the quarterback. Maybe Shador. Maybe they surprise a lot of people and they start to play hot mid-year and they make a run. I don't know. But as of right now, nobody's expecting them to,
be world beaters.
Yeah, nobody's expecting them to be world beaters. They're expecting to be a young team who's going to take a next step and evolve, and they'll regroup in the offseason and probably could be a contender next year for the division, right? This is our thank you, Two-Man. Two-Man's always on it with the comment. We developing this year. Our window is next year. This is the developing year. This is a foundational building block year, right? But this is very important. This is why you can't have these distractions, because you're doing that as well, right? You can't have that shit in the locker room. But again, nobody would judge him right now, Mike. Who cares? Like, what do you need? You're not going to use the cap money this year anyways. Develop what you got in house. You got a lot of youth. Just you might as well just see what you got in a lot of these guys. Who knows? You may develop some, good role players this year as the year goes on. Trust your coaching staff. So, to me, that you just hired, by the way. So to me, Mike, he should just cut him right now. I'm not, and B Skrills says I'm expecting breaking news that Deshaun Watson is released from the Cleveland Browns. Browns have just had to take their losses for real. Exactly, take the loss, but you got a good thing going. You can't screw up. You can't fix the past, but you can definitely dictate what you're gonna do in the future. They have control over some of that.
Agreed.
You cannot F this up with this young group. I like this young core. And if Shador fits in with these guys, I see him out again. The Cleveland for Christ event they're doing, baptizing. I mean, you have some good young dudes in this. There's some real culture. I mean, look at Jared Verse, the impact he's had, Mike, in 5 months or whatever, or 3 months. I mean, this guy, he walked in there and he's already changing things just with his presence. Young, energized, came from a winning culture, played some meaningful games, and like you have some dudes here that, hey man, they're low in the lead. Look, Carson Schwetzker, leader, all on and not about. He don't say a lot, but he does it with his actions, on and off the field. Like roll with them dudes. You brought back the Denzel Ward, who's a stout guy, great guy, and I think a good vet in that locker for your for the young guys, right? He's from here. It means something to him to put on that Browns uniform. You got what you need right here. So to me, just put him out there and cut Deshaun and get it over with. I mean, I don't think he can. Mike has him. If he brings back Deshaun Watson, Mike, and they still roll him out there at the beginning of the season, and they put Taylor Green on the practice squad, and if I'm going to tell you something, if Taylor Green, and I'm not saying this guy's going to develop into become some all-star one day, but again, you spent a draft pick on this guy, and you could have used it somewhere else, right? And you need depth. If they put that guy in the practice squad and he gets picked up, which I think could happen, that you look so stupid as an organization, and that's such a bad move. And the coach just publicly praised the guy and said how much he loves the guy, and he's putting in the work on after the practice and before. I mean, Mike, I would be so pissed if they did that.
Oh, I agree.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm ready to cut Deshaun. I think it's the best thing for the organization, the fan base, the media. Everybody is calling for it. Just get it over with, man. We're going to lose money anyway. And here's the thing: the Browns can afford it at this point. Most of our talent is young draft picks anyway. The quarterback that's taking his place is either going to be a 5th round pick. Well, it's going to be a 5th round, but it's either him or Shador. So Shador's a 5th round pick. He's making 5th round salary. So just eat the money, move on. If you have something in Shador, great. You can build around him next year with 2 first round picks. If not, that's fine too. Again, you have the draft capital to get a quarterback. It's done. You can't have. And you said something earlier where it's like, what if another team did pick him up? What if another team did pick him up? Like, Cleveland media is rough, and Cleveland fans can be rough, but like, we're not in New York.
What if
the Jets picked him up?
If they put that guy in the practice squad and keep Watson and he gets picked up, you think New York media is bad? Wait till you see what I'll come up here and say.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now.
What if Deshaun gets picked up by
that? I mean, that would be crazy if they allow that to happen.
If Deshaun gets picked up by what if Deshaun went to New York? He's complaining about Cleveland media, Cleveland fans. What if he went to Philadelphia as a backup? Come on, or anywhere in the NFC East for that matter, or I don't know, the Broncos, or there's rough media everywhere. But
the part of it. The media is part of the business. Media is good part of the business in the NFL. If there wasn't media, they wouldn't be selling the game. Wouldn't be talking about it all week leading up to it. Get everybody engaged. It's all about engagement and money. Okay, they get people engaged. They get your money. So. And get you interested and watch the games. So, media is part of it. Now, I mean, if I think media is getting, some media get out of hand, yeah, obviously but that's everywhere you go. All right. It is what it is. I don't think most players really don't care. They don't even look at it. They're there. A, they're getting paid, but also B, they're there to do their job. And a good coach and the organization, they don't allow that stuff on the outside to leak in. And that's what the Browns have to put their foot down right now and say, we're not going to allow this to interrupt what we're trying to build here. We got a new head coach. Yeah, a lot of young dudes. We can't have this stuff, right? You just can't have it. So we got to get it out of the building.
Agreed.
But shout out to Rob. He said KC, Boston, and Bond might end up being the best receivers I've seen since the 80s with Sipe, with Brian Sipe and his receivers. That could be developing a really nice core, Mike. I know you're really high on him as well.
I'm incredibly high on him. I'm so hyped for Casey Concepcion, especially because like the biggest like gripe about him coming out of Texas A&M was that he had drop issues. He hasn't shown drop issues at all, at all camp. So that's exciting.
The organization cannot anticipate Watson's multiple injuries. Neither did he. Yeah, here, what happened. It's over with now. But I think for where you are right now, and after what he said yesterday, you got to move on. Yeah, you just can't. You just got to move on. For where the state, because the team, they're in a whole different state than they were when they acquired them. But Mike, do you want to answer this? Do you guys think you should trade Jerry Jeudy?
I think Bond moving at 0 now is the smartest thing you can do, and just get rid of another toxic player on the team. So Jeudy, if you watch, and I don't know if you have franchise, but if you've watched the Wideout series on the Cleveland Browns YouTube channel, I would recommend it. Jerry Jeudy's actually been good for these young guys. These guys he's been giving a lot of advice to our young receivers. For all intents and purposes, have been a positive impact. Yeah, maybe he can get a little toxic after, having the dropsies in a game and the media comes at him about it, whatever. I think maybe because he was on a 3-year deal, he signed that. He's either on the last year of his deal or he has 1 year to go. I can't remember. I don't think right now you get a lot for Jerry Jeudy, and he's a veteran receiver that even as your wide receiver 4, as a wide receiver 4, you can do a lot worse than Jerry Jeudy. And honestly, he's not making that much money. And I don't know, you only gave up a 5th round pick for him. I don't know what you get back in a trade. And I don't know who'd be willing to at least take a contract for him. I think Jerry Judy's one of those players that if he gets you 400 or 500 yards, it's kind of a success as a wide receiver 4. I agree with you that his role is probably going to be mitigated, especially with the young receiver core that we have now, but also Harold Fannin Jr. is going to see a lot of targets too on the offense. So I just think his role is going to be lessened. And I think, I think that's fine. I think if he gets you 400 yards this season, maybe like 2 touchdowns, I think that's a successful season for him. But as far as like his toxicity, at least from behind the scenes, it looks like he's been a good influence on the young guys, and we'll see where it goes. He's only got a couple years left on his deal. I think they'll just let it play out, and when he's gone, he's gone.
I think Steve Smith Sr. basically explained his career.
Yeah,
that's been the highlight of his career since that. Well, no, to be fair, he had a good year in 24, but yeah, when a lot of people now think of Jerry Jeudy, they think of Steve Smith, but he doesn't want to see Jerry Jeudy on 3rd downs. What I like about Sanders is he works with Ty Green. Yeah, and I like what I like about Ty Green is he's out there getting work after practice too. And I've said for the jump here at Shedeur Sanders, he was there the day the coach was introduced back in January. He could be anywhere, he could be out somewhere warmer, but he was here. All right, he's been a part of all the offseason stuff. He's doing stuff after practice. So like at least his actions are showing like, hey, I'm trying to be the leader of this team. With Deshaun, he didn't come to really a whole lot. I think he came to some offseason stuff, but he wasn't there today. Coach got introduced, which I didn't like, to be honest with you. If you want to be starting quarterback of a team, you should be there when the coach gets introduced. But that's just my opinion. But presence matters. But and then here we are now with this stuff. It's just like, okay, it's go with the young guy and just get. What are we doing here? He'll trust your coaching staff, put together a good game plan with a rebooting offensive line, and you'll go out there and be effective. So. Yeah, Mike. Before we get to our last part here, Mike. Mike. Terrell said earlier, don't sue tough guy. Don't be an internet tough guy.
Oh, in response to what I said at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, because remember he said you wouldn't say that to his face, the Watson's face. He would whoop your ass, no consequences.
Yeah,
that I'll sue.
Of course, I'd sue him, dog. Who wouldn't sue him? Anybody in chat that would sue Deshaun. If Deshaun Watson came up to me over my internet comments by saying he's bad at his job, for which he makes $230 million, Dude, I've been told I'm bad at my job at times, and I don't make that much money. And I didn't punch nobody. If if Deshaun Watson legitimately wanted to come up to me and punch me over the face, for saying he's bad at his
how many
job,
people do you think were in that stadium yesterday?
I don't know, like maybe 1,000, maybe.
Well, more than that. I mean,
Maybe 2, 3.
thousands, right? There were some thousands in there yesterday, probably.
Yeah,
okay?
not a lot.
He
but
could. He should.
under
If that's
10
the case,
for
he
sure.
probably should have went up there to the stands yesterday and punched a lot of people. But
Yeah, he could.
I don't think he really cares.
Yeah.
Peekaboo U22 says, I appreciate you commented in, tuned it in. But everyone knew Watson was going to be booed. I'm not sure why people in the media are surprised. I'm not surprised. I would say I'm a little surprised it was as loud as it was, because I didn't think it'd be a big crowd because it was raining. But I mean, I expected a few boos, but also I just expected people to just be like quiet. All right, not really. But I was a little surprised. Now, I'm surprised by his response, because he shouldn't have been surprised more than anybody. He was asked about it earlier in the week, and he said, I don't care. Well, after the game, he did care. So, I don't know. Yeah, it is unfortunate. But, here we are. Sanders is a good team. I appreciate you guys for taking Peekaboo and everybody for tuning in. Sanders is a good teammate, humble, down to earth, and has leadership presence.
Oh yeah, I like him a lot as a human being.
Toolman says 200 million. I'd sue him for everything.
Goddamn right. Hell yeah, I would.
And then Toolman says, what do you say? Heck, I sue him for being racist, and I'm Hispanic. Kevin says the Cleveland Browns suck. I'll take the Steelers quarterback Clark Howard or Will Howard over Sherduki, Sanders, and Watson.
Well, Howard's looked awful though too.
I think if he didn't address the boos, I think if he didn't address the boos, and he just said he didn't care again, like on Thursday night, he may have been the starting quarterback. That's a great point.
I would have to agree with you, but maybe
I
not.
will say though, because
but maybe not.
He played a lot more calmer and more clear-headed than I've ever seen him last week at Chicago than he did this week. I don't think he played bad because he just had a bad. I think he mentally was just out of it, because when he ran out there and heard the boos instantly, I think he was like, okay. I think he was not. You knew he was gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, but another thing too is maybe not. I mean, maybe the coaching staff would have seen what like the boos actually did to his mentality on the actual field. That matters. I mean,
right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he shrunk.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I blame the guy. Again, I mean, I get he's a human being. Like, you're at your home stadium, and that's never happened. I mean, I'm getting booed by my own fans that I play for. So I get it. In some way, I understand he's a human being. I mean, but again, he knew it going into it. They asked him about it. I mean, he wasn't stupid. He knows what's going on. So I don't know. But Sally, it was all bad in the head. I think the dog pound may have said something honest truth that shook him. It may have been. But Mike, then on a positive note though, Sure Sanders is on the screen, Mike. He started yesterday, and I read his stats earlier, and we'll close with this. And by the way, a news alert: the Browns have placed Alex Wright on a season-ending ruptured Achilles.
It's a damn shame for the young man.
Yeah, it's a second season-ending injury. Hopefully he can bounce back. But they have signed Mike, long-time or almost 10-year vet Derek Barnett as defensive end. He played with Houston last year. Last year in Houston, Mike, he had 5 sacks. And he had tackles, played 17 games last year as well. So he played all 17. He's played 16 the year before that. So he's had 5 sacks the last 2 years, Mike, and he's played almost every game but one. So at least they got somebody, Mike, to add to the depth a little bit. They need that. They need some more, obviously, on that defensive end. But so that's a news for you guys. You haven't seen that. But so, yeah, there you go. Derek Barnett, defensive end. You might get any quick thoughts on that?
Solid player. Derek Barnett, really savvy veteran, good locker room presence for everything I heard. People in Houston liked him a lot. 5 sacks is very productive for an older player. So, I mean, we'll take that. That's about what Zadarius Smith had his last full season in the NFL before he came out of retirement. And we were looking at him too. AJ Epinesa was much the same. Good to have that. Horrible for Alex Wright. Great guy. Just got his contract extension. Hopefully he can rehab, bounce back. Because, I loved him coming out of UAB. I remember us even talking about him. You and me were just talking about that draft not too long ago, but I talked about Alex Wright as an option, just based off of his athletic gifts, and to actually see him develop into something as a great run defender. I think his best season, he was on his way to having 10 sacks if he didn't get hurt. But just heartbreaking for the man. He's a really great dude. So wish him all the best. Wish him healthy rehab. And hopefully everything goes well. But good signing for the Browns as well.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Mike Shador, yesterday, I'm gonna put this poll in the chat too. Let me know what you guys think about Deshaun Watson. Should the Browns cut him in spite of the big cap hit it would have on the salary cap for the Browns? So let me put this in the chat real quick for you guys, and make sure you vote on it. Let me know what you guys think. I think we kind of see a lot of people's responses today already, but let's see. But yeah, it's in the chat, so make sure you guys go and let me know what you guys think. Should the Browns cut Watson in spite of the big cap hit it would have? Let me know what you guys think. But we'll get checked at the end of the show. But our last segment, Mike, again, going to Shador Sanders. He was 9 of 11, Mike, 74 yards, 6.7 yard average, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, only 1 sack. He was a lot better this week, Mike. I thought he was a lot more cleaner. He made some good throws last week. Obviously, I think he had the best throw to Luke Floria. Now, Luke Floria, Mike, had a touchdown this week, and him and Shador have a connection going for sure. And I like Luke Floria. I hope he makes it. Obviously, local kid from Kent State. But, I think, Mike, to me, I thought Shador looked pretty good yesterday. He had the 1 interception, but, I think he can grow from that. He had the one last week, 3. I think it kind of got off on him a little bit. But I like what I saw, though, Mike. I like that he led the team up the field. He looked a lot more clean. He looked very efficient, Mike. He looked in control. And I liked what I saw from Shador. And I think, if that's the guy that can just go out and just keep building off of that each week and play, solid football, I think you just roll with him, especially when I hear the coaching staff, or we heard today from report from Fowler, the organization, he has a presence and an aura. Well, then you put that guy out there, you just let him go and just build with it. But I liked what I saw yesterday from him, Mike. I thought he had a really nice game. I liked what I saw leading them down the field. The Shador this year looks a lot more calmer, more in control. He seems like he's obviously grown. He's obviously played a full year. He's been around the league a full year, but he played 7 games, and he got experience, understanding the speed of the game, obviously, and just getting more adapted to that. And you can tell the coaching staff with Todd Monken, they're doing a nice job with him. And he obviously, credit to him, he's put in the work, most importantly. So, but Mike, I think he's gotten a lot better. I think he's cleaned up some of the things he, had to fix last year in terms of more pocket awareness and just, timing and stuff. But he's done he's done a nice job. I gotta give him credit. He's gotten better. He's still got things he's got to work on, obviously, but I like where he's trending, and he's been consistent most throughout a camp. So, I think that's obviously a big sign. So what's your thoughts on Shador?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Shador as let me start off with this. I think he's a great young man. I really do. He's really, really kind, does a ton of, extracurriculars in the city. He's a hard worker. I know some of the media members clash with his fan base, what have you. I know he's very popular, but as a human being, great dude. As a worker, incredibly hard worker. I don't think he went anywhere the whole summer. I think he was in Berea most of the time working, which credit to the young man. That's incredible, especially as a young player that shows hunger, that shows want. There is a confidence about him that is refreshing to see. But he's also not cocky about it. He's incredibly intelligent. He knows that he needs to improve on some aspects. His accuracy is good, and he has taken steps. If you look at that touchdown pass to Luke Floria, he actually was going through his progressions. I think that was his 3rd read on the play, and then Luke Floria just popped open and he made the pass. Very decisive decision making as well. I like Shador Sanders, man. I've never disliked him, and I don't know how many times I've said on the show, and the viewers can watch every episode I've been on since we drafted Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders working out as the franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns is in the Cleveland Browns and ours best interest. He's a draw. He's always been a draw, obviously, because of his notoriety. but he was a 5th round pick. So you have a 5th round salary for the next couple of years if he ends up being
He'd be
the
the next
guy.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, if he could be the next Brock Purdy or the next Jalen
Like somebody
Hurts.
put Jalen Hurts. They put earlier.
Yeah.
But I think Brock Purdy for where he's drafted too. We'll go ahead.
Right. And and then you have a plethora of premium picks the next couple of years that you can use on just building this team and continuously building it, kind of like the Eagles have, and you're just in constant contention if Shedeur Sanders ends up being the guy. That is ultimately the best case scenario, objectively. Now, the Browns were smart, and they do have a fallback plan because not everything is certainty, right? You can't go off of certainty in the NFL. A bunch of stuff can happen. You can end up not being the player you think you are, or you get hurt, or what have you. So it's all about plan B's, C's, D's, and E's. That's why we have so many picks next year. If for whatever reason Shedeur is not the guy, you have the picks to go get a young quarterback in the top, couple picks. And it's looking like to be a good quarterback draft, but we'll see. That's always going to, change. Names will drop, names will rise, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But
all season to play.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, man, I like Shedeur Sanders. He's a young player. We have a young team. I will accept, the ups and downs, but just see what you got. See what you got. Give him a full season. You have a better O-line. You have better weapons. I think you're still going to have a top, 10 defense probably. So see what the young man's got. He's likable, and that's so much more than what you could say about the other guy in the room. So I can't say enough nice things about the kid. I truly do like the young man.
Most important thing to me is what you're hearing about him in the locker room and the presence and the aura, like we heard earlier. That and the leadership. That's what's most important to me. I could sit and break down film. Maybe don't drip too much. Maybe at times, or make this. Maybe this was the read he could have made, or did this. But that's part of football. He's going to get better. That's why you paid Todd Monken the money you brought him in here. He develops quarterbacks. He's proven that. So, I think that you trust your coach, and you got a kid that's willing to be. He wants to be great, and he's putting in the work. And he's doing all the right things. So, to me, I like where he's trending. I think if he could become the next Brock Purdy, let's say, because he's a 5th rounder like Purdy was, and he becomes your franchise guy, hey, the Browns should be doing backflips because guess what? They got 2 first-round picks next year and 11 picks overall. They can even add more to this team, and they need it. They need more depth. I think that's the biggest thing this team has right now, Mike. Our biggest knock is they don't have enough depth. I think the preseason has shown that, and not because of the win-loss results in preseason, because just once that first and second teamers get pushed off the field, Mike, they've gotten boat raced. So, I don't see a lot of guys that really stand out to me either the third, fourth team. So I'm like, okay, that could be an issue. But, they're going to have to be healthy most of the year to really have a chance to, maybe make a run to win a couple games in a row, maybe make a run at the wild card pot. Who knows? But I don't see it. But, they need a lot of, our secondary needs work. They need some work overall in their depth. But shout out to Architect. Hit the button. Yeah, thank you, Architect.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
But I think that I like where he's treading, Mike. But the most important is the intangibles. I like if the locker room and the organization sees it, then that's what you roll with. And obviously, clearly, him and Todd Monken have a good relationship. They start off the relationship with Shedeur giving him that. What was that thing he got him that Monken put up on his mantle in his house? It was a horse.
Because Todd Monken I think he keeps racehorses. So he got him a horse statue.
Yeah. So, they already seem like they have a good relationship. And, you roll with that guy and you see what he's got. And his presence, it brings excitement to the team at least.
It's such a rich white guy thing to do, by the way. Yeah. I don't know more of a rich white guy hobby than owning a racehorse. You know what I mean? It's just,
but I think again, I just take for Shedeur where you're trying to build a culture. You go with the guy that's lifting everybody else up and brings a swagger to the team. Can be contagious to your team. So to me, I like where he's going. I like what I saw yesterday. And David Carr, Mike, former NFL quarterback, he gave an analogy last week on Shedeur. He gave another analogy yesterday. Make sure I have the right clip here. Give me one second. Before we get out of here, make sure you guys please like, subscribe, and share. We'll be here every Sunday after the games during the season.
Gonna be calling some games this year, baby.
yeah, we'll be calling some games as well. We do stuff during the week as well on my show, and then
Gotta
Professional
hear my
Fan will be
color
back as well.
commentary.
So please like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you guys having around. We have a really great chat today as always, and you guys are bringing some great insight as well. So here's former NFL quarterback David Carr on Shador's performance yesterday.
I love it when a plan comes together. Obviously, the rain didn't bother him at all. He went out there and started his first 8 for 8, I believe it was. Offensive line protected very well. I thought he got through his progressions really well. This is a 4th down play where he shows poise of a veteran player, really, to stand in there and get through your progression. I thought he did a great job just getting through, seeing what the defense was giving him, and then making great decisions. Another one in the red zone. Like, this isn't easy. This is a nice little schematic play you dial up. Wide open, you can say, but it's a great job getting there. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks panic, move out of the pocket, try and find something, but I thought he did a good job. Even moving forward again, this is what we saw last week, him moving forward in the pocket, even on a game that goes for a yard. Now, when he makes nice plays like this, you'll see the wristwatch fly up, Patrick, every once in a while. But you know what? That's good, man. He still has that energy, but he's playing poised. Brock, he's playing efficient football. I love what I see. He looks like a vet.
And listen, if I'm Todd Monken, I've seen enough.
Yeah.
I'll just say it right here. I know who my starter is week 1 after that performance in the first half.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Shout out to Jockey Truth on X for posting that. But you gotta go check them out. But I think, Mike, I like all the things he said there. He's showing progress, and number one, the biggest thing I thought he said there was the offensive line. The offensive line this week, Mike, the starting unit at least, was a lot better than they were last week. So they were a lot better, and so that's a good sign. Again, I expected that with George Warhop as your offensive line coach, when he's one of the more revered guys in the business as an offensive line coach. And so, they were better there. Now they still got to run the ball a little better. They were 3.1 yards on average yesterday, only 84 yards on 27 attempts. You want to see them get better in the running game, but in terms of pass protection, especially with Shador's out, they only gave up 1 sack yesterday. So, to me, I like what I saw from the offensive line. I think the guy, Mike, that before we get out of here, that I really was impressed with yesterday was Carson Ryan. I think Carson Ryan actually will be very good for this team because I think, they need tight end depth because I don't know what's going on with Joe Royer right now, but near here or there. But you got Harold Fano. But Carson Ryan, though, Mike.
Only so much negativity in a day.
But I think Carson Ryan fits. A lot of these teams are running a lot of 12 personnel nowadays, multiple tight end sets. I think Carson Ryan really will fit what they need because you have a guy, and obviously Harold Fano, who's an elite route runner for a tight end. He's got that receiving ability, which makes him great. But you got a guy in Carson Ryan. He blocks very well. He made plays when he needed to, but you can shift him around in the backfield as well as a fullback or a wing as well in those heavy set formations. And he's mobile enough where he can get upfield and block. I think he's actually a really good asset they acquired through the draft. I think they drafted him right from BYU.
Yep.
So
7th round pick from BYU.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he looks like a solid pick. That's somebody you can use for depth and just for your some of the stuff you've been doing. I think that guy can develop into something. So he's somebody that I'm really keeping an eye on. I think that could be beneficial for this team for some of the stuff they want to execute. But your thoughts overall on what he said and this, closing out on the game yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, here I agree. He's going through his progressions. His footwork's look better. I think another thing, I don't know if he mentioned it, but he's poised. He looks more poised in the pocket than he did last year. Last year he wanted to break the pocket a little bit more. And here I'm not saying he shouldn't sometimes. Like, it's always good to use your legs if you can. But
and I think a lot of that too is a habit. In college he had not great offensive line play really ever. He always had to run out right or sometimes left, but a lot of times roll out right to try and look for Travis down the field or Jimmy Horn. Maybe great receivers Western. I mean, that was a great core. But I think he's he's definitely broken a lot of those habits from last year, you could tell. And like he said, step up in the pocket and like you said,
more coachability.
Yeah, for sure. Did anybody else stand out to you, Mike, as we wrap up from the game yesterday? And we look forward to next show.
Not off the top of my head. I think we covered all our bases pretty well.
Yeah, we covered a lot today. It was a great show as always, especially today. But we play Thursday night, Mike. We play on Prime. National
Thank
TV
God, I finally watched the game.
Yeah, Thursday night against the New England Patriots at home on Prime. So that'll be a good one, Mike. What do you expect? Looking forward to that game.
No booze because Deshaun isn't playing.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. Is he even going to be on the sideline? And
I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
We'll see. Well, that's probably about that on it.
I just got one normal off-season, dog.
Yeah, no kidding. But But yeah, man, appreciate you guys for tuning in today. As always,
Appreciate
appreciate
everybody.
Cool Man, Rob, V, Architect, Peekaboo, Franchise Official, B Skrills as always, Cap, 9530, Jay Davis, appreciate you. Make sure I got everybody, Mike. Let me go back up here. Shout out to Krishan Green. Well, the fans had a terrible day. The rain delay made them a little cranky. Shout out to Krishan. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to everybody watching on the playback.
Yeah.
Shout out who else do we have in here? Ace in LA. Shout out to you. Let's see. Brian Megan. Shout out to you. Make sure I got everybody, Mike. And Terrell Jenkins, who Mike was coming out here on the show. Shout out to him as well.
Yeah. Hey, here
shout out to Resurrect Mints as well.
All publicity is good publicity. That's how I feel.
Just to let y'all know, I am Roberta. All right, well, shout out to you, Roberta. We appreciate you guys. And guess what? For Roberta and everybody in the chat, Mike, if they want to call and leave a voicemail and give their thoughts on the show, or on not only on the topic of the show, but just on the Browns and what they should do with Deshaun Watson right now and thoughts on the season, predictions, call into the show, 216-532-5550. Again, 216-532-5550. We will play your voicemail on the next live. And you want to call, leave your thoughts on today's show in terms of the topic we talk about Deshaun and Shador and all things Browns. Call and leave us your thoughts right now, 216-532-5550. Call today and leave a voicemail. We'll play on the next live. But
yes, we will.
Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Mike, you want to tell me to like, subscribe, and share?
Folks, we love you very, very much, and we appreciate you joining us. Thank you for everybody who commented in. It was really cool to see all the comments, have dialogue. Always good. Even if we disagree, we can always agree to disagree. That's the beauty of fandom. So stick with us here throughout the rest of the season because there's going to be a lot of content coming. It's going to be an interesting Brown season. I think we're going to be a fun team to watch. So as always, like, subscribe, and share. It really helps out the channel, trying to grow it. And yeah, love you very much, folks. Thank you so much, as always.
Appreciate you guys. Love all you guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Great time. Great show. Enjoyed my time here. Oh, I appreciate you. Where's my button at, Mike? Where is it? Shout out to you guys. Yeah, we appreciate you guys. And thank you, Roberta, for tuning in. We're glad you enjoyed the show and hope to see you back in the next one. But yeah, love all you guys. Like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. And I will see you next one. I'm saluting out of here. Mike, what are you doing?
I'm picking up the branches around my house from the apparent tornado that just hit right outside my property.
All right. Well, you have fun playing pickup sticks. And we'll see you the next one.
Later.